Sarah from Funky Fossil here. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll enjoy this and subscribe to the channel. And if you are watching for another time, then thank you very much for coming back to see what I've got in store for you. Today I want to make a very quick video playing with our some of our A7 stamp designs. We've got a fabulous deal on them in the shop at funkyfossil.co.uk this weekend. It finishes midnight on Monday, that's the 29th of August, I believe, where we've got these reduced from £5.50 down to £3.50 each. And I think there's at least 40 designs in the range now, and I absolutely love the A7 stamps because they offer so much versatility, and we've really kind of got a very varied range available to you. What I thought I'd do today is just show you 2 or 3 ways that I like to use the stamps. There are lots more, of course, but just to get you going and get you thinking about how you might incorporate kind of A7 size designs into your projects, I thought I'd just pop on and share some ideas with you. So I've got a whole heap of some of the designs here, and I'm not going to go through them all individually. You can see them on the shop, but you can see that they're approximately kind of the size of an artist trading card, and that will take me to the first kind of way that I like to use these stamps, because they are effectively artist trading card size. They are scaled down to work perfectly on those kind of projects. And I've got a couple of grey board artist trading cards here that I have gessoed, and then I had these just on my craft table, but I think I've covered them with some paper that I had jelly printed, so they've got a kind of nice lovely textural abstract background. And the A7 stamps will offer us the opportunity to create some perfect further texture on backgrounds of this size, quite modest size for the artist trading cards, of a focal point, and we'll have these ready to go in no time. So with the one in the more vintagey colours, the kind of the browns, I'm going to use this cute character from Owl Together, one of our A5 stamp sets. So I know he's already coloured, obviously, so you know he's going to fit on the artist trading card, but it feels like it'd be a bit plain just to plonk him on there without anything else. So what I think would be a good way to go with this is if we add some words behind him. So I'm going to use, this is the Affirmations A7 stamp set, and it's full of really kind of positive sentiments, things like brave and authentic, strong, vibrant, fabulous. So it's just all different kind of words jumbled up together, so it makes great backgrounds for cards and projects. And what I'm going to do is use some VersaFine clay. I'm going to use some in Acorn, which will go with the brown tones that are already on the artist trading card. Now I haven't, as you can see, I haven't mounted this stamp onto an acrylic block, or of course you absolutely can do, as you would normally with any clear stamp. But I'm just going to kind of hold it in my hand because I don't want to get the complete impression in one go on this kind of card front. So I'm going to do a bit of selective stamping just by holding the stamp in my hand. You can see I'm not even inked up the whole of the stamp there because I won't need it for something this size. And it's on the acetate back that it comes with, so I can bend it and move it as I wish. And I'm just going to pick up, you can see that you've just got the corner there. I'm just going to pick up little bits. And remember, we've got quite a big focal point with the owl on this artist trading card, so there'll be quite a lot of this background that won't be visible, but there will be some, and that's the key, isn't it, when we're creating our layers. There we go. So simply one ink up, and we've got some lovely words, and whatever peeks out behind this owl will, be a positive sentiment. So put the lid back on my ink pad. And these are going to be just super speedy little projects, because the key thing that I really want to share with you is that the A7 stamps give you that opportunity to add finishing touches or very quick backgrounds. Now I'm going to just leave this a second while this ink just dries on the gel print before I adhere the L down. So while we leave that to one side to dry, let's go with the other one that I had already prepared, and that is, it's got some lovely kind of cloudy blues, and I thought it would work perfectly with one of our fabulous Zinsky art mermaids. I think this stamp set's called Making Waves. So on this one, I think I'm going to use, this is a Zinsky art design as well, I'm going to use Bursts of Round. So it's a really kind of abstract, funky design. And I am actually going to put this one on a acrylic block and put it down in one go on this artist trading card. And as I've said already, the joy of this is because they are designs that are scaled to work on in that A7 size. They're not going to be out of proportion with the rest of your project, which I think makes them very easy to use. So what have I got here? Bluebell is the Versafine that I'm inking up with. So it'll be a nice strong blue. And we're just going to pop that down, and we're going to have a background in one go. I could have done what I did previously with the Owl Artist Trading card, where I just used this in my hand and created a slightly more random stamped image, but this time I've just gone with the whole design in one go. And there you go. So you've immediately got a pattern that will work beautifully behind this cool mermaid. And we could colour in these bubbles with either maybe glossy accents or something shimmery to enhance that bubble-like effect. So I'll pop her on there, just leave her to dry for a second while our owl gets his finishing touches. What I often like to do with artist trading cards is just ink around the edge. Say I'm using grey board, which we do sell in the shop, but you might use card, you might use MDF. So it really depends what kind of edge you've got to work with. But because this has a little bit of depth to it, I think it's quite nice to just add a bit of inking around the edge. So I'm going to go with an archival here in potting soil, sticking with my browns on a bit of cut and dry foam, and that will just stop anything looking a bit glaringly white around the edge of this. Not sure if this ink is the stamping is completely dry yet, so I'm just taking a bit of care not to smudge that too much. It doesn't need a huge amount doing to it. It's just going to bring that, say, kind of draw the eye in, bring it all together, and make sure that there's no kind of white bits poking out. We don't want that, do we? So let's glue down our cheeky little owl. He's such an adorable character, and we'll add a word to our artist trading card, hoping that my there we go, my glue, this glue's gone like water. It's very warm here today. Let me just dab that off with a bit of kitchen towel. See if it's better straight from the bottle. I've got glue malfunction. Isn't that always the way? see if I can get some glue. I'm going to have to pause the video just for 1 minute while I sort out my adhesive situation. Back in a sec. Oh, well, after that brief interlude, I think I've got one of my glue applicators to work. Still not entirely happy with me, but let's see. So we'll just park this little owl slightly off to one side. So we've got the words absolutely visible around the corners. And then just to add a simple word to finish this off, I've got one of the Zinsky Art washi tapes that we sell. That's there's just a whole roll of really kind of cool words, and all I've done is stuck it on some white cardstock so that I can snip out a word to suit and stick it down. Got marvellous will do the job, I think. So let's see, I'm not sure if this cracky. Honest to goodness, these glues. I could put that there. Feels like it should be in the top corner though, so that's where I'm going to plonk it. This is good. This was going to be a quick little project, so let's not overthink it. There we go. And then we've got our gorgeous mermaid to stick down. Just add a little bit to the hair because that's quite thin. She definitely has a salty hair, doesn't she? So let's pop her by cutting out the images just with a little bit of a white border. It just enables them to stand out from the background. And then of course fabulous, that's the word that's caught my eye. Fabulous is going to be perfect for this mermaid. And then to finish our artist trading cards, one of the other A7s in the range that we have in store is specifically designed to provide you with a backing for artist trading cards. So what I quite often do is just have a little session stamping lots of them out onto kind of white sticker paper that you just kind of office supplies sticker paper, so I can just peel it off and stick it on the back, and it just means that the back of your project has got a nice kind of tidy finish. Of course, although I've stuck this down, I could just literally stamp the put the stamp directly onto the back, so I'll just do that to show you. But having a stash of the sticker version of it as well is really useful, certainly if you've got quite a dimensional artist trading card and you're like me and leave it to the very end before you actually put your backing on. But this is a really nice way of just adding some details or being able to let the recipient know who made it and when, and any other kind of details that you want to share with them. As I say, it can be used as well to tidy up the back of an artist trading card if it's got a little bit inky during the process. So size to fit perfectly, and we'll pop it down. As I say, I do have slightly uneven surface, but not too bad. And there you go. You can then write onto that and share your details, or you could not get too much ink on the sticker. This is not my day for anything with any adhesive to it, is it? Good grief. There we go. No, we don't go. I promise you, it is a really quick way to finish off your artist trading card if you're able to actually see the sticker back on the paper. So I'm going to pause the video again while I wrestle with this, because I'm sure it's not scintillating viewing for you. Phew! Well, I managed to fight with my sticker sheet and get the get get the backing off. So I've literally just stuck that artist trading card sticker down that we've made with the A7 and attached it to the back of the card. So you can see there, either stamped directly onto the gessoed grey board or with a sticker, using it as a sticker to cover the back. And there you have it, two very quick artist trading cards using the A7 stamps as backgrounds, quick and easy backgrounds, either as a complete image or as textured detail. Right, I'm going to just tidy this away and then share another idea with you. Okay, so for one of the second ways that I really like to use these A7 stamps, I'm going to create a kind of focal point on an A6 card front. And a bit like I was saying previously about the artist trading cards, the fact that these are a smaller scale stamp means that you can kind of have them on your smaller cards, your A6 cards, and not feel that they're going to overwhelm the focal point or the background, so the focal point or the sentiment or whatever you're going to want to place in front of it. So I've, as you can see, masked off an area in the middle of, well, middle-ish of the card. I didn't measure anything, just with some masking tape. And I'm going to just plonk some colour into that middle area so that when we stamp over it, we're going to have a kind of a blocked out area with that stamp detail on, and that will just define the edges. This is fossilized amber, and I could just stamp directly onto this, but I think I'll use my stamping platform just because the masking tape is going to add a little bit of a kind of further layer for the stamp to make contact with the paper through, if that makes sense. That sounded like a long sentence. I'm going to use the A7 equation stamp, and I absolutely love this stamp. Is that the right way around? I don't think it really matters unless you're very good at maths. I think that might be the right way around. As you can see by the state of this stamp, I do absolutely love it. Just that kind of random scribbled mathematical kind of imagery just creates such really kind of fun and unusual backgrounds actually. So I'm just going to put a magnet at the bottom here. So I'm using my Eureka as my stamping platform. This stamp's so loved, it's almost losing a bit of it sticky on the back. So let's ink up, and we can add some mathematical brilliance to our card. So I'm just using some black VersaFine. Give this a good push down, just paying particular attention to where I can see the edges of the masking tape are. And I'll be able to go back in. Because of the scribbly nature really of this image, it wouldn't really matter. That's worked out perfectly. It wouldn't really matter if you did miss bits of it, because it just looks like scribblings on a chalkboard, doesn't it? So it's not a design that is particularly noticeable if you don't get every single element of it perfect. So let me just take this masking tape off. I'm doing it relatively slowly, just so I don't tear any of the surface of the white card. Just checking my fingers. That's always the risk of having white space on your cards, isn't it? That's the bit that always attracts the inky fingerprint. But having added that stamping in the background, sorry, the inking in the background with the fossilized amber, you can see what a nice kind of strong, clear edge that gives us. Last bit to go. Put it around the back, which is what's making it a bit trickier. I always find it really satisfying to remove that masking tape and just see the kind of clean line that you've got. So there we go. So when you're wanting to create kind of clean and simple cards, almost kind of giving yourself a bit of a layered look, it's great to be able to have that crisp white space and then the stamp detail just where you want to place it. And on this card, I thought I would put our very excitable man. I don't even know, I can't remember. This is obviously Zinsky art designs. I'm sure you can tell from the imagery. Is it Guy Talk? I think it might be Guy Talk, but he does look to me like he has just solved some amazing mathematical equations. So I think he definitely deserves to be in front of that stamped focal point and stamped background. Let's just pop him on there. And of course, because we've got that clean border around that A7 stamping, it just means that he's not having to fight with the background particularly. And I'm going to use one of our lighted up dies because I think that will frame it nicely. And what I'm purposely doing is putting both of the kind of these elements so that they extend out beyond the inked and stamped area, so it just kind of gives the design a little bit of a flow, but we've not overwhelmed it, and that's kind of the key thing. And one of the reasons why I like the A7s is it makes it easy for you to create kind of cards that have plenty of space for other elements to be added. Just trim off the top of our light bulb. These are really fun dies. Oops, caught a bit of the card there. No one will notice if you don't tell them. And let's add another of our Zinsky art words to this. Should we go with spectacular? I think yeah, spectacular. He definitely looks like he's very pleased with himself, doesn't he? That's where do we put it? Do we put it there? Do we put it here? Overlap our elements a bit. Oh, the dilemmas. Bit of glue to the back. As I say, this is washi tape. The only reason I'm adding glue is because I've stuck it down on some white card just to enable me to create some kind of word embellishments. I think I'm going to put it there and just kind of keep with that diagonal on our card front. And there's loads more. I could add some enamel dots. I would certainly matte and layer this onto black card before I added it to the final card base. But the purpose of what I'm showing you is how just by masking off a small portion of your card front and using a smaller scale stamp in the center there, you've got a really kind of striking focal panel, whilst plenty of white space around it too, which is always nice. So that's our second way of using the fabulous A7 stamps. And so for the third way that I like to use my A7 stamps is to create kind of collage fodder and stamp them onto rice paper. This is some indigo blue rice paper, which, as you can see, I've been using to mop up paints and inks, so I've got some colour already on it. What I like to do is just randomly stamp some of the A7 designs onto tissue paper, onto the rice paper, sorry, in order that I can transfer it onto whatever substrate I'm working on and get that beautiful kind of transparent look that you get with rice paper, to build up another layer in and give you that kind of collage look. So I've already got an MDF tag. This is one of our large MDF tags, and I've applied some gesso and some paint, acrylic paint to it, and I'm just going to do a bit of stamping and show you how I adhere that to the MDF. And that's all I'm going to do with them on this occasion, but I am going to make a second video with this MDF tag and show you what I actually finally create with it. So because I'm going to want to adhere the rice paper with kind of a matte medium, I'm going to stamp out these A7 designs with archival ink, because I know that won't move when I put the kind of medium over it. And as I showed you earlier, here I've got one of the A7 stamps. This is Face the Music. I'm not even inked all of it. I've got it on the clear acetate, and so I'm holding it in my hand because this is about just creating a fairly abstract background look. So it really doesn't matter how much of the image you get down, where it goes, because we're going to just add layers of stamping here. And what we're not really looking for anything that looks particularly pretty at this stage in the process. It's simply going to give us some interesting background texture, and that's, I think, not aiming for anything particularly pretty at this stage is also really kind of freeing, because it just takes all the pressure out of the stamping process and worrying about getting something really perfect first time. And all I've done here is I've got a piece of white copy paper behind the rice paper, just so you can see the stamping against that. So this is our vintage script. Again, very useful A7 stamp to have. We all love our script, don't we? It's a great element to add to projects when you don't know what to put on a background. A little bit of script always looks fabulous. And again, this has got that wonderful A7 scale to it. A little bit more of this, and I quite like to mop inks and paints up on my rice paper because I've got some colour there already to work with, but you could just be doing this onto plain rice paper, it really doesn't matter. And for a final bit of stamping, let's add the A7 splatters to this, and quite often, and I've shown on in other demos, quite often I'll stencil onto the rice paper as well, so you can really build your designs up. This is going to kind of end up as one of many layers on a project, so it's fantastic, the kind of unexpected bits that end up peeking out in the final result. So I do love this splatter. Just again, lovely size to work with. It's a single stamp, this, so it's one of those little stamps that you often reach for to kind of finish off a project, particularly if you're worried that your own splattering will go awry. It's always good to have it in stamp form too. So there we go. Oops, gone quite attached to the rice paper. There we go. So you can see a real mess, but one that when we start adhering it to our painted base will look really effective, I hope. So I'm sure many of you watching this will already know, but one of the best ways of kind of taking out bits of your design from rice paper is to wet the paper and tear. So I'm just going to get a brush that I can dip into water. And that just gives you a nice feathery look. You can of course cut it, there's no problem with that at all. And if I was spending longer, of course, I'd have covered the whole sheet with stamping. I'm just going to take away the pieces that don't have much interest on them for now. I can always go back in and stamp on them later. I'm not giving much thought to the bits of the rice paper that I select out here. It's just having smaller fragments to work with when we adhere them to the MDF tag. And I've got, this is the same paint on the tag as I've got on the rice paper, just because this is what I was using to mop up some of that paint as I was covering the MDF. There's some cheeky little bits of yellow in there as well from something else that I was doing, I'm not sure what, but they'll work nicely. Just get this little bit of a splat out our paper. There we go. So our A7 stamps are giving us the ability really to build our own collages. I mean, there's some fabulous collage stamps out there with collages already designed for you, but equally, you know, you can stamp and layer your designs on top of each other like this, and you've got your own, you know, specific collage ready to go. So I'm just loosely placing this down on where I think I might put them on the tag. Got 3 elements, which is typically the way I would work. And I'll just show you how these disappear into the background when we add a bit of matte medium. I've got some Liquitex, any brand will do the job. Oh, this is a new Liquitex, so that's already sealed. Where's my open one? Here it is. I was thinking I was having another adhesive nightmare then. There we go. Just put it out onto my glass mat. Obviously matte medium isn't the best thing for your brushes. I mean, obviously wash them straight away afterwards, so I would recommend using an old brush. All my old brushes are soaking somewhere, so I am using a new one. But my recommendation would normally be to use an older brush for kind of your mediums. So I've put a little bit of the matte medium down onto the MDF substrate and then gone back over the top with the medium as well, just to kind of seal that rice paper in. This one here. And it's just something I absolutely love doing in my journals or on MDF projects like this. And I've got these rice papers going off the edge of the MDF, and that's fine. I'll just let it dry and then I'll either sand it the edges off, or I could adhere it round to the back of the project depending on what the back will be, if that makes sense, in terms of how visible it might be to anyone looking at it. But certainly I just leave it for now. I just leave it kind of while it's wet. It'll mould to the MDF, and then you can take off the excess when it's dried. Can you see how beautifully that dries into the background? Oops. I've managed to add some inky marks, but they will be covered in the final project, so I'm not going to worry. So that's the third way I like to use my A7 stamps. So we've got effectively, just in the videos, or in this video, I've shown you how I use them in my card making, so to create a kind of focal point on a card that isn't overwhelming for everything else on there. And I've shown you how, because of their sizing being perfect for artist trading cards, how They work well on those smaller projects. And then also in my mixed media with this kind of rice paper. Of course, you could stamp directly onto MDF as well, but if you have a great, fantastic stamping session, fill loads of rice paper with archival stamped A7s, and you're good to go. You've got your own kind of pack of collage material ready for future projects. So hopefully that's given you some ideas of ways that you might use a small stamp like the A7s. Just to remind you, they are on offer at the moment this weekend in Funky Fossil shop. So yeah, go and check them out and see if there's any projects you can think that you would like to add some of this kind of detail to. But in the meantime, thank you for bearing with me and my glue challenges. And I hope you like some of the ideas I've shared with you. Do like and subscribe to my channel, and I will be back with another video where we continue with this MDF tag and we make it into something really lovely. So I shall hopefully see you then. Bye for now.